Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm driving an all-wheel drive blue Model 3. Let's check it out. All right, so the story behind this car, I was in having the nose of my car clear filmed, and while I was at the tinter that tinted my windows, incidentally, when I had him doing the clear nose protection film, I noticed a blue Model 3 parked in the parking lot area there, and so I went over and talked to him. Really nice guy. His name's Don, and turns out he and I have quite a bit in common: age and family and just worldview and belief structure and that kind of thing. And so we got to talking. Turns out he's a subscriber to the channel. Of all things, I mean, just amazing. So we talked and it was just, we hit it off really well. And so he mentioned that his car is all-wheel drive, and I asked what the differences were, and he said, well, my wife actually has a rear-wheel drive Model 3 also, a red one, and then I have my blue all-wheel drive, and he said hers is just rear wheel. So I thought, oh my gosh, you have two Model 3s, they're red and blue, one's rear-wheel drive, one's all-wheel drive. I said, can I review your all-wheel drive car? He said, absolutely. And so I also got pictures of the my white car with their red Model 3 and this blue one, and you'll see that video up on my channel shortly. But I told him that I wanted to review his all-wheel drive car, and so he lives half hour or so away from me, so he kindly gave me his address, and now I'm in his blue Model 3. So one of the main things I wanted to do was to check the torque difference. So let's come to a stop. And definitely pulls real hard. I'll say that the acceleration, the primary difference between a rear-wheel drive car and this particular all-wheel drive car that I'm driving, I would say the 0 to 30 or 0 to 40 is very similar. However, above 40, well, above 50 probably, the rear-wheel drive cars start to flatten out, whereas this thing just keeps on pulling. And it pulls strong up to about 80. And another friend of mine has this identical car, all-wheel drive blue car, and he said the same thing. He said that his car shines between 60 and about 85 or 90. And the rear-wheel drive cars start to flatten out at that point. I will say, though, that how punchy it is right at about 40 miles an hour is very much the same or very similar to my rear-wheel drive car. And the rear-wheel drive car maxes out right at about 40 in power output. And this one, that power output doesn't just max at 40, it continues up to about 70 or probably closer to 80. So that's the main difference, in case you're curious about performance. I can tell you that the ride quality is very much the same. You can actually feel the added weight up front, just a little bit. I mean, it's not huge, but it is there. Regen feels about the same on the all-wheel drive versus the rear. Now, I know that the regen has greater potential to return energy into the pack because of two motors, but I don't know if the pack can accept anymore. So, but yeah, the power consumption bar definitely stays up far longer. On my rear-wheel drive car, it goes up and peaks at about 40 miles an hour. Yeah, about 40-45 miles an hour, and then it begins to drop. And when you're up at about 70 or 80, it is you can see that the power consumption meter is dropping to where it's pulling less current at that point. So definitely, absolutely, this car shines at higher speed. The acceleration maintains and continues for longer. From a dead stop, again, it feels very similar to the rear-wheel drive. There is more, I'd say right off the line, there's more pull. It's not tremendous, but it is definitely there. I would say partial throttle, partial accelerator pedal movement results in more torque. Just little pedal movements really makes the car tug more so than the rear-wheel drive car. So definitely nicer to drive in that way. Again, I can feel a little bit of added weight at the nose of the car just from the added drivetrain up front. So don't know that that's negative of any kind, just an observation. And so let's see here. The added acceleration is a little bit addicting though, kind of nice. So anyway, I love the white interior, very clean, very crisp. I like contrast, and so in that respect, very, very nice. The ride quality is similar, although again, you can feel the little bit of added weight up at the nose, and it does seem to smooth things out a little bit. But overall, very pleasant experience. I'd say that if I were buying a new car today, I would get an all-wheel drive or a performance all-wheel drive, you know, assuming I had the money for that at the time. But let's see here. I'm going to throttle it around this corner real hard here. So it accelerates through a corner far better. Okay, so my rear-wheel drive car, when I came into this neighborhood earlier, I floored it around that corner and I could feel the back end kind of stepping and grabbing, stepping and grabbing. With this car, it just pulls its way around. It claws with all four wheels, definitely noticeable. So accelerating out of a hard corner is improved in the all-wheel drive car. So anyway, I have more thoughts and I'll share them with you guys later, but for right now, I'm just enjoying flooring this car and just having a ball. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Don, thank you very much for letting me flog your car, and keep tuning in, guys. I've got a lot more cool videos coming with winter coming and that. Some neat stuff planned for you guys. So. Well, I'm back in my car after driving the all-wheel drive, and gotta tell you, sort of an interesting experience. This is one of the things I've noticed. The level of torque, it definitely has more torque, but right at that 40-45 mile an hour point, my car pulls just as hard, and the two-wheel drive cars are definitely more nimble. It's quite noticeable. Oh yeah, very, very nimble. The all-wheel drive car is a little bit more sluggish in the corners, but the torque really does help offset from some of that. And so overall, really a great car. Really a great car. Mid-corner, throttling mid-corner, the all-wheel drive is absolutely stellar. I say, for me, I would say that it's, I'd love to try it out in wet weather, I'll put it that way. This thing really grips well in wet weather just because of the tires and wheels that I have on it. Also, the traction control that Tesla has implemented is just top-notch. I mean, second to none. The acceleration begins at a lower speed and it continues at a higher speed. With this thing, it accelerates decently up to about 30 or 35, then it really starts to pull. At 40, it's pulling really hard, and then that hard pull begins to taper at 65 or 70. With the all-wheel drive car, at probably 10 miles an hour, it's pulling hard, and it maximizes the power according to the meter on the screen. Instead of maximizing at 40 and tapering by 65, it maximizes at 30 miles an hour and continues. I got going 80 and it was still pegged. I don't know when it tapers. So I didn't want to, it's not my car, I wasn't going to go any faster than that. So, but overall impression, all-wheel drive, wonderful. Just a really great experience. Again, I want to thank Don. what a nice guy. I could actually see Don and I getting along and maybe doing a couple other videos sometime in the future, becoming friends. He's just, it was quite an experience getting to know him. And so anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to see any other specific content. If there are any questions that you guys have about Tesla ownership or the Model 3, by all means, go ahead and ask. So, thanks a lot, guys. And Don, thanks for the drive in the car. Take it easy.